All right, now we're going to talk about something that is a little bit different, which is the unmoving, firm abdominal lean, and it's a little bit has to do as a result of other things that we do. The if I freeze this and I freeze my belly, my abdomen remains absolutely still, and when I breathe in, it's just frozen, so it forces me to breathe in my back. There's no place else to breathe. And then when I start to sing, I don't let anything move. I freeze this. I go, so I'm not dropping the abdomen. I'm not letting out slowly. I'm freezing the entire thing. And you have to understand one thing about these tapes when I make them. I got every bit of this from some fantastic singer, some great historical singer in some cases. Leonard Warren had the best baritone voice I ever heard, and this was his whole technique. He did this, and he did one thing up here, which I'll show you, but he would freeze this, or he called it his skating pond. It is frozen from here to here. And I can't really show you very clearly where it was on the down here, but it was all the way down to here. See? La la la, cordiali di razza dannata. It lets you keep the sound coming, as they say. You get up in the mask and just sings up there like crazy, and it sounds really good, and everybody's very happy. Okay. All right, so let's do some more of those. Now, at a certain point, the voice starts to go up in the head voice. So in America, they call covering, but you're not really covering anything. It's passing up into another register. All right, now let's discuss the type of resonance I'll say that he used. I won't even say that we should all use it, but his voice was the greatest voice you ever heard in your life. It was fantastic. And how did he sing? Now, we used to call him, when I was a student in New York, we used to call him the genie because we said he lived in a bottle. His voice was always stopped up like that, and when he talked on the radio, someone wrote in a note one day when he was the singer who appeared on the Texaco opera broadcast on Saturday. And somebody wrote a note and it said, "Dear Mr. Warren, what note do you cover your voice on?" So he thought for a minute, he said, "Well, actually, my entire voice is covered." Now, what do you mean by that? Well, it's what you think of when you cover. Some people, if they cover, they do it correctly. They lift the soft palate up and forward, and the voice passes. It contributes to the passing of the voice into the head. Some people raise the soft palate in the back and go, la, 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 like that, and it's terrible. Breaks all the rules about content. Rule number 1, no action of the throat. Rule number 2, no change of emission. It causes the change of emission, right? Every action has an opposite reaction. So I've got to let things happen based on the breath and let the voice pass. La, 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 la. If I was still, the voice will just go up there and go, I don't have to worry about it. Now, what we want to discuss here a little bit is a deliberate exploitation of the resonance of the true mask. Those of you that are singing on him and going, ma, 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 sing like that, make it sound pretty good. And you realize it's completely in my nose. Caruso said in his book, on about page 3 or something, he said, never sing into the nasal cavity. It's against all the rules of song. And it is. It's nasal, and you know what the biggest problem is? It blends with the orchestra. It doesn't carry as a separate instrument in the orchestra, a solo instrument. It begins to mix with the orchestra. Or even choir. It's hard to be a soloist. They usually have everybody to stop singing, and then you can be heard. But it doesn't sound bad. That's why it's easier. And you sing on the M resonance. So I go, it's in my nose. The other is hung. I'm not saying about the sound. I'm saying that the only problem with that one really is it doesn't carry. So we're going to try to do something that Leonard Warren taught me. He and George London, a few of the really great voices, and Galoff when he came to New York, they were all, they had different names to make this happen. Rule number one, oh, well, not rule number one, but suggestion number one was, you sing like you're smelling a flower. Now, it's a Tetrazzini's book, and it's not unusual, right? It goes back quite a way. So I'm going to freeze this, and now I'm going to do this. Ready? If I don't do it, I get still not nasal because I breathe in my lower back, which makes my soft palate go up and close my nose. But those people that arch it a little bit can contribute to a more closed up area down here. And first thing you know, it moves the whole voice up. I'm smelling a flower. And you know, it's passing and passing. I've got a frozen pond here, hand on top and a head on the bottom. It's going to force you to breathe in your lower back because you can't breathe anyplace else. It won't move. So I breathe like that. Like some people I sang with, like Jerome Hines, and of course Franco Corelli did it all the time. Helga Rosfanger used the chimpanzee. Like that, but all of them said, no, but you got to freeze the front. You cannot let it move. So if I do the, let's just say it's called the Muller maneuver, and I go, right? And then I do something like the chimpanzee, I go, or I smell the flower. Another one you do with a frozen front, and when the back does all the work. Very important, you constantly breathe into your back because the back squeezes like crazy and does all the work. So the next one would be the pre-sneeze, and this is another one that Mr. Warren was a phenomenon at, right? So I'm going to freeze this, ready? And now I'm going to smell a flower. I'm going to pre-sneeze. Ready? Freeze this and let the back freeze this and let the back do all the work. If you do that, now we were getting up into what they call the true mask by doing something. The true mask is a vague term. This is the false mask. This you feel like it's in the front, but it's false. And that's why it's false, because it's placed down low, right? Caruso said, never sing to the nasal cavity, period. So if I sing there, I'm singing in the wrong place. But if I close it like this, now there's a way to close it by moving. I like that Lily Lehman said, move the back wall of the nose forward. The back wall of the nose. I never could figure that one out. I never knew what she was talking about. But I do know that it's possible to use breathing, to use the pre-sneeze, smelling a flower. It makes your soft palate go up and forward, right? A lot of your raised soft palate goes straight up. That's all. That's terrible sound. It sounds awful. It doesn't carry worth a darn. So if I do those two, now George London, a famous singer, he was a heroic baritone, a big, what they call a Helden baritone. He sang Flying Dutchman and Wotan and all his monster parts. And he could sing bass parts too, and did. I heard him a lot. I was great friends with him, and he just was a great singer. Now, how did he sing? He simply said, open the mask and sing. Open the mask. Is it that simple? How do you do it? He said, well, look. He said, imagine that behind your face right here, from there to there, you have an envelope. And the envelope is stuck up inside your face like that, except the envelope is that open and has air in it. He said, but nothing goes back. Everything goes up and down like this. Now, take a deep breath like that, so. And sing. You understand? This doesn't move. This locks up from top to bottom. And then you can play with these different resonances and see which one you like. But whichever one they are, they're all going to be supported by the fact that you breathe way down in your lower back and your lower ribs do this. And then you start to sing, they squeeze together. It's all in the Caruso book, folks. The greatest singer who ever lived describes exactly his breathing. So did Tetrasini, though. So did a lot of singers, right? All right, so that ought to make some sense to somebody, I hope, and we'll see if we're getting there. There's something called active respiration, where you breathe constantly, exaggeratedly to do something. So this kind of breath we're talking about down the lower back, that's lower. Some people draw the abdomen all the way in, like this. And then they let it out when they sing. Or they pull it in and hold it there. Now that's going to hold you this way. If I pull my abdomen in and hold it there, I get... It's a different sound completely. If I try to smell the flower with my abdomen held in, I get... If I let it out, if I breathe in, and then let it out when I sing, I get... If I freeze this and use the pre-sneeze, I get... So there are all these different ways you can think. Yeah, the truth is, they all work. I got them from somebody. The weakest one is anything goes in the nose. The nose is always a disaster. And one of the best voices in the world I ever heard, a guy named Barry Morrell, and he sang at the Met, but he sang in his nose. He sang in the nasal placement. Ma, 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 ma. And so his voice didn't carry. But on the radio, he was down at UC Berkeley. His voice was gorgeous on the radio. So a lot of people loved him, and nobody wanted to change him or mess with him because the voice is so beautiful. Those old experienced singers who were closing their noses when they sang were all saying, it'll be more beautiful if you close his nose. So it's interesting that some singers, you cannot avoid this combination of breathing and what it does to your voice. It's always, so every way you breathe is going to affect your voice one way or another. See? So if you do what Tetrasini called mini puffs, you... A lot of people like that type of sound, right? What is this doing? So all this has to do with posture and breathing, and you might even say the posture of the soft palate, right? All right, so let's leave that one now, and we will go and see what we can do with something called active respiration. Okay, bye.